All right, you want to jump right into the UFO topic? You just save that to the end of the show.
No. Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I'm not gonna wait that
Well, I
long.
mean, look,
But
it's more prominent though with a couple of things that have dropped.
I'm saying there's too much shit going on for it to be like.
Yeah, I mean, they're
I don't want to say for it to be a coincidence. There's just
I mean, like, okay,
there's
it's hard to say because I mean, like, the monolith thing is one thing, and then you have the sightings that, you know, they were talking about those on Rising. I think they were talking about a whole different set of sightings
that's
on
what I'm saying.
Rogan.
There's a bunch exactly. That's what I'm saying. All of this shit coming out this week. Cool.
Yeah, but you
I
know, I
mean,
was talking to John earlier in the day too. PK over there in the chat. He was asking me about, you know, the possibility of some kind of Men in Black thing, and if, you know, like how we were going over it with the government and having all these different shadow organizations within the bureaucracies that are compartmentalized from even from the president. And yeah, I guess we're already going into this kind of stuff now just because it's so prevalent. But yeah, like, yeah, you using one of those freaking emotes. This is gonna distract me, but
whoa. Handing out subs to everybody in the chat. Oh, fucking
well,
this.
well, but what they were explaining on Rogan was that same thing, was how things are compartmentalized. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's no
And
way they would tell
and
Trump.
even a president had information kept from him, and you had all these aspects of the agency state not wanting to have things or certain things released, right?
Yeah.
So, again, I like we talked about last night, I would not rule out a possibility of some kind of of some kind of entity in the government that acts by and large independently and decides to classify certain things or to keep things under wraps.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just that if there is, we don't know anything about it because,
Right.
we do hear a good bit of, like, info kind of leaked and the stuff. See, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to be a bummer, but I think the stuff coming out this week is, a, a, it's a limited hangout of sorts or whatever, a misdirection
A
to
misdirection.
yeah, it's to get these people to shut up about the fucking election theft, right?
What they're okay,
Think
so it's
about
a
it.
way to throw them, like, what, a bone, so they
They're thinking, okay, we gotta like get something for the conspiracy people out there, right? Like
uh
we gotta get like because if you look at like r/conspiracy and places like that,
uh-huh.
it's just post after post about they're stealing the election, like they're gonna do the Great Reset, the
But
vaccine's
I
fake,
feel
like
like they
just
would only want to go ahead and do that if there was actually something to hide in terms of the election.
no, they just want them to shut up about it. They just don't want that conversation
What,
happening because
they're annoyed?
no, it's hurting confidence in our systems, right?
Well,
Like it's been doing that because
yeah.
Trump's been saying like, oh, they stole it, folks, and then
Uh-huh.
these people are saying they stole it. Like they're
Mhm.
going doing these press conferences and talking about it nonstop, and I haven't seen anything credible that looks to me like it was stolen. I mean, the stuff that people are presenting as evidence all
Right.
looks pretty lame to me. Like the thing they're all obsessed about now, that ballot box that was like underneath
Uh-huh.
the table, and they
Yeah.
claim that that was like hidden, like some cache
And
of
then,
hidden
and then
Biden ballots.
the new lawsuit that was spit out there in Georgia, just asking straight up for a do over. You know,
Yeah,
and they
it's insane.
was that I'm not sure if the answer to that complaint that I reposted, if that was to the Georgia lawsuit, or I mean, 'cause there's just so many out there, but that shit was fucking hilarious. Uh
I mean, if they just filed it today, they're not going to have a
huh.
any kind of response to it yet,
No,
unless the judge laughed at it.
well,
But you have all this stuff that's been coming out, this drip of conspiracy theories
yes.
and Alex Jones and like the globalist and everybody is
Roger Stone.
hammering on it. Yeah, they won't stop talking about it and they can't get Trump to shut up about it. Like nothing they could do. right? And they can't get other forces in MAGA, in the MAGA coalition to stop talking about it. So what did they do? Like, oh, look over here. Look at this shiny object we got. We got this new, footage from a Navy pilot. We got all this stuff. And it's not like it happened. Some of the sightings were recently, right? But there's I think the one from that Rising video, I think that is from
Right.
2019. And it's coming out of right-wing media, right?
Yeah.
Like it's in like the Washington Examiner, and I think this debrief site is probably.
Well, see, this
I don't know. I haven't checked out it. But
this is the thing that I tweeted out, by the way, from the show account. So this lawsuit that one-time Trump legal team member Sidney Powell has been promising would be biblical. Perhaps plaintiffs should have consulted with Proverbs 14:5, which teaches that a faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. Few lawsuits breathe more lies than this one. The allegations are a little more than fevered rantings of conspiracy theorists built on the work of other conspiracy theorists. Plaintiffs rely on affidavits of so-called experts. Really confident to me.
Yeah, this is the DA in Georgia. This is their response,
right?
Or is this?
Yeah, no, that was a response to their complaint that they were filing. I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if this was the one in Georgia, but I'm thinking that's what it was, right? But I mean, as far as what you would write up in a legal brief, that's just fucking hilarious. Like I couldn't have. No, I mean that's pretty animated language. I mean for what you read as far as legal crap. Like most of the time, it's not that entertaining.
I mean, usually the introduction is where the good stuff is. They give you the recitation of facts from a biased perspective, so it gives you
I mean, kind of thing that is Georgia, since they threw the Bible verse in, and then usually when you're looking at legal crap from the South, you find that interjected in some way or another. Just from what I've read.
I don't know, man. I was really stoked about this UFO stuff.
Well, I mean, you said that okay. So let's get back to it. So you are feeling that it's meant to be a sort of distraction.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's my theory. I mean, obviously I want to be wrong about that.
But so what is it like stage shit that they're throwing out there now?
No, put on that Rising video.
All right,
that's a good overview.
Let's go with Rising. Let's go to Sagar and Ryan Grimm. I like referring to them as like our correspondents. There you go.
Developments in the last couple of days on UFOs. And yes, because Crystal is out, I'm going to cover his UFOs as much as I want to. Not that she's against it. She's against it. I'm just very into it. Okay, so this all started out on a website called The Debrief. Let's throw this up there. So The Debrief, very interesting news organization on science, tech, and aerospace, spoke with a lot of U.S. military and intelligence officials about the UAPTF. Now, I want everybody to take that in. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Now, this task force, we've talked a lot about that here. That's what is working with Congress and the Intelligence Committee. Well, it turns out, according to The Debrief, they spoke with a bunch of officials about a new report that's been circulating around the Pentagon and within the intelligence community. Now, I'm going to read some direct quotes to everyone. Everyone The Debrief spoke with said that the most striking feature of a recent report was the inclusion of a new, extremely clear photograph of an unidentifiable triangular aircraft. Now, yesterday,
The Debrief published
these photos. So the first.
What the fuck? Never mind. What the fuck is that?
All right, so this is the craft, right? So it ascended from the ocean.
So it's not even the triangular point. Like the point should be in the other direction, right?
Well, I
If it's
mean,
heading up, it's got the what's it called? The what's the name for that? But the wider end is facing up instead of the aerodynamic end.
right.
That's first of all weird.
Yeah, because I mean, you wouldn't expect, some. Yeah, I mean, it's like you think about like a paper airplane. The pointed end of the plane is what helps it guide through the air,
Yeah,
right? It's just
but the
air.
propulsion. So even
Yeah,
if the propulsion is gravity driven, which that's what I want it to be, it would still have to deal with wind resistance. Um,
I don't know about
that's
that.
I mean, unless it has like a pocket of,
Because it
like
said that the entire what Bob Lazar said was that the entire atmosphere around it is affected. So it's like it doesn't matter the medium in which it moves, whether it's water, air, space. It's all the same kind of thing,
yeah. So I
regardless of
mean, that would make
resistance.
sense then.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
keep playing it. Let's see.
Into contact with a
How's
U.S.
that?
Air
You got that,
Force
BJ?
plane actually jammed their radar, technically an act of war. And what's important to acknowledge about all this is that part about the ocean. This is now consistent with a couple of different
That's weird. I wonder
verified
what
accounts of
that's the
U.S.
second time
military
it's done that to me.
personnel that are encountering this. And Ryan, you and I were talking before the segment. In some cases now, nuclear attack submarines are said to have encountered some of these vehicles under the ocean. And I remind everybody the Tic Tac one in 2005 was actually observed, by Commander Fravor, saying that it might have been communicating with something in the subsurface. So this isn't just something which is aerial necessarily. This is just something that kind of because it defies the laws of physics, it just changes the way that we think about flying. I mean, whenever you have a propulsion system,
I thought people were
which doesn't
into
require
ASMR.
like air and burning air, you fly just same underwater as you do in the air. Are you a ship? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, are there other theories that the Army is throwing out or the military is throwing out as to what else could be going on here?
Great question. In terms of the military, they don't mention any. Now, in the debrief article, what they talk about is something called a weather dropsonone, and that is like a triangular-ish. I wish I had a picture that I could throw up here. I should have thought about that. Which is attached by string to a larger weight. And the reason why they generally think they can rule that out is because the string and the weight are not attached in terms of that triangular phenomena. The other one people were talking about is a mylar balloon. That's been the case in several different ones. That one, look, I don't have an explanation. It's certainly possible. What I would say is I do not think an FA-18 fighter pilot takes out his cell phone to take a photo of something when it's a mylar balloon. I just think that given the amount of time that these guys spend up there in the air, we're talking about tens of thousands of hours of airtime, of so much more, they know how to distinguish between something that they believe to be something emerging from the ocean and going at a right 90-degree angle, and like a mylar balloon, which is just like going around. Right. So look, I mean, this is just another tool in the cap. And as we've said, and actually it's interesting, a lot of people contacted me after our last segment when you were asking, like, why would they keep this secret? A lot of it has to do with the nuclear program and some of the more secret elements of the U.S. military arsenal and their own, contact that has come in with these vehicles. But, it's just day after day after day, the situation gets a lot more interesting.
I'm glad we're learning more about it. I'm glad that, credible outlets like the one that you just elevated are looking at this in a way where people who haven't been following it religiously for years can have a place to go to and look at it in a serious way.
Yeah, I try hard to break it down on only the most credible ones and Pentagon reports, things with photos, that type of thing, because it's very easy to be dismissed. There's been a lot of propaganda about this for many, many years. Anyway, next week on the triangular craft
go back to this
emerged from.
Actually, let me see if I can find that tweet. Where is this? UFO study. All right, let me look at that tweet. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it's from 2018, so why does it leak this week? I mean, it could still be legit, right? It could still be like, all right, they did the info drop, this week for strategic reasons, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't discount the fact that this was actually taken. I don't think it's fake. Like I don't think they doctored this image. Like
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm interested in seeing where the narrative goes with this picture, but if you expected the image to be crisp and definitive like the rendition, that didn't happen. So this is the artist recreation as the of the image described in the UA PTF intelligence report issued in 2020. So this description of the craft I've actually heard in multiple UFO documentaries where it's like looks like a slice of pizza, has lights in 3 areas in the 3 corners of the craft. And then,
what was the real pic we saw though?
So that's the artist recreation, and that's what they saw. That's the.
Yeah, but we have the real picture, so
That's the real. That's the you can see right there how
that's an artist recreation of that scene.
Yeah, it's to make it more clear. So this is the artist recreation. This is what they actually saw because I think he whipped out his iPhone or something and just took a picture from the jet, right?
Which is why we have it, because whatever was on his official stuff was classified.
Right, and then this is the photo, so you can see from. Okay, so that on its own, it doesn't look too weird to me, but the fact that it popped out of the fucking water.
That doesn't look weird to you?
No, I mean it could look like a rock. I don't know. I mean, or like or it could look like a fucking balloon. I mean, the flight pattern is what makes it weird. Because look at the thing that they reposted here. So let's see. So there's what they said. Skeptics should be held to a high standard as well. How the fuck do you analyze a military leak and conclude it's a Batman balloon? Maybe a large balloon with purpose, but a Batman balloon. I mean, look. So if you see this floating off in the distance, it's probably gonna look about the same shape, but it's not gonna fly the way that they described that it flew. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen.
Oh, let's see. The photo appears to be the same one as referenced in their previous reporting, described as an unidentified silver cube-shaped object encountered by military pilots as it hovered motionlessly over the ocean.
Let's see. According to PJ, they're just trying to make cover for the CIA's use of Fulton extraction system.
What's Fulton extraction system?
Fulton extraction system. Never heard of that before.
Here, do you want to pull up this debrief article?
All right, where do you?
I'm gonna send it to you, right?
All right, yeah, send it over to me.
There's 2. There's a longer one. That the longer one is like a much more in-depth story that came out a couple of days ago, and we can go through that.
Fulton extraction system.
So off the east coast of the United States in 2018. Caught it with his cell phone. It's the backseat driver, the weapons operator of an F-18 fighter jet.
All right, so see leaked photo surface of purported unidentified aerial phenomena. So the UAPs. There you go. The debrief has learned of a leak of an unclassified photo said to have been widely distributed in the intelligence community, which purportedly shows that what the DOD has characterized as unidentified aerial phenomenon. So the debrief reported on 2 classified intelligence reports issued by the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. See what we're talking about? Have you ever heard of these people before?
Who?
The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force.
That's the one that they disclosed this summer. That's not the what's it called? The UTIP or the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, whatever. The one that's not the Bigelow one. That's a different one. That's a follow-up one that I think is a little bit more like a less. Like I think the Bigelow one was just a grift. I think that was just like him getting government money to finance, giving money to a bunch of ufologist cranks and like the To the Stars people and all, like the Skinwalker Ranch. Like they basically gave Bigelow money to like buy out Skinwalker Ranch, and
there's that image that we caught. While details are difficult to make out, our image appears to depict an inverted bell-shaped object, which is not readily identifiable given the photo's context. The object appears to possess ridges or other protrusions along its lateral edges extending towards the base. So it bears some resemblance to a GPS drop zone, an atmospheric profiling device designed to be a drop from aircraft. However, notably absent in the pilot's photo is a GPS receiver, which trails the drop zone square and a cone parachute. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is it at all. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. It's not. That's not it.
Yeah, I don't think that's it.
No. You know, and we're gonna go ahead to play that Rogan clip from the podcast that he had to.
I mean, this is what all of those craft look like. You know, they all have that same basic shape to it, the triangle-looking thing.
The triangle thing, the bell. Like, I remember that I saw this documentary a long time ago where they were talking about Germany having experimental craft or access to experimental craft, and that's why they had that whole the Operation Paperclip where they transferred all those German scientists over, because apparently they had first access to this technology before we did, and the object was to keep a wrap on
they knew how to do the. I think that was just because they knew how to do the V2 rocket. I don't necessarily think they knew how to do.
But it went beyond the V2 rocket. It went into all these experimental craft and certain alternate weapon systems that Hitler had in development with these scientists.
Well, like, I'm pretty knowledgeable about Operation Paperclip, so if we haven't uncovered any of those details by now, then, you know, like I said, there could be all of this stuff. Like, Men in Black could be real. It's just that we don't know about it. And like I said, I follow this stuff pretty closely, and, you know, I don't think I've seen any evidence for something like that. There's people who think that, like, you know, Hitler had the time machine and, like,
they apparently sent people to Antarctica and shit like that.
Yeah, like, I was really into that for a while. I did a lot of research on that story. That is kind of weird, right? And the Nazis went to Antarctica, then the Americans sent a group to meet them. And, like, there could be, like, there's probably cool shit in Antarctica, like, that we don't know about. But the photo is not related to an image provided in a separate intelligence report released earlier this summer. Officials who had seen that report said it contained an image of a large equilateral triangle with rounded or blunted edges and large, perfectly spherical white illuminated areas in each corner. The image of the large triangular craft was said to have been captured in 2019. So this is a different craft. Wow. So, I mean, between this stuff and the stuff, the TikTok and all, this stuff has been out there for years.
Of course it has. Of course it has. I mean, that's why you have certain reoccurring sightings all throughout history when you have artist renderings and you move on to, you know, photographs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, XCOM is real.
What's XCOM?
he's dropping the MGS references, I think, is what he's doing over here. Yeah, PJ, that first one is Phantom of Pain. That's like a Phantom of Pain thing. Yeah, I didn't get too into Phantom of Pain.
It's so the one guy said it's not a Mylar balloon. Some variety of military radar reflector or research balloon. Two defense officials we spoke with said pilots who encountered the object described that, unlike a balloon under similar conditions, the object was completely motionless and seemingly unaffected by ambient air currents. They did not describe the photo as compelling. All three officials we spoke with seemed dismissive of the idea that it depicts a balloon. According to these sources, the photo would not have been issued if there were reasonable estimates that the object was a balloon, given the nature of the intelligence report in which it appeared. Has not been able to speak with the pilots involved. In 2018, the Navy changed its guidelines concerning the reporting of unknown objects. And the surfing of this photograph seems to indicate that some aviators are coming forward with sighting reports. Yeah, before 2018, they had all these things set up in place so that you never came forward. You were basically mocked and it wasn't reported, right? So then in 2018, after they had the ATIP program, it became new protocol that they had to start reporting them again. So it sounds like that's happening.
Yeah.
Because they've been seeing these stuff like for years, right? And most of them you don't hear about.